Hello and welcome to Three Sisters, One Heart podcast. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Heather.
And today we are going to talk a little bit about the science behind birth order. You know, what is birth order? What does it determine?
What kind of significance in your life roles?
Yeah, and if we think that really there's any truth to it, or, you know, how it affects us personally or our families or our own birth order. So before we get into it, let's go ahead and go over our trials of the week.
I'll go.
All right.
I'm still pregnant. Everything hurts. I have a head cold. My kids have colds.
It's a terrible time to have a cold.
Yeah.
It really is. Although I will say the boys are much more congested than I am. Poor things, they sound rough.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas mine's extremely minor. I'm just like, and that's about it.
we were talking earlier, the weather here has been
So back and
yeah.
forth.
Back and forth and crazy.
anytime it's like that, I get a cold.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I've been hit by a train or any of the other COVID things, so I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah.
But I did find out I have to take a COVID test this week because of, possibility of giving birth at any point in time.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I have to take it again at 39 weeks.
Yeesh.
That's not fun.
No.
No, it's not. Is it up the nose kind?
Oh yeah, they're gonna poke my brain and take a sample and,
Well,
all that. Ugh.
you don't need all those brains. You'll be fine.
I feel like I'm lacking in brains already, so
That's the pregnancy. It does that to you.
I don't want them to take any more of it.
That's. What about you?
So my trial this week is on Christmas morning. I woke up and did like I do every morning, went to go make coffee and realized there was a big puddle between like my living room and kitchen floor. And I thought, this is a lot of liquid to be cat pee. Because that's what my instinct was, is that some dang cat, it was cold. It was so cold for us on Christmas. So I thought some cat did not want to go outside and go pee, and they just peed right in the middle of my floor. So I clean it up and I go about making my coffee, and then I turn around and lo and behold, I see a puddle forming randomly in the middle of the floor. And I'm like, okay, what is happening? So I'm able to trace it back along my cabinets and realize that it is leaking from my dishwasher.
Ugh.
And in my dishwasher is gray water just sitting.
Ugh.
So I'm like, are you freaking
That
kidding
didn't
me?
smell?
I'm
Didn't have
not
a
super
smell?
bad. A little bit of a smell, but like it hadn't been long.
Okay.
And I just thought, are you kidding me right now? Like, I cannot, it's Christmas. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna call a plumber on Christmas?
No.
No, I will live off of paper plates and water from the bathroom sink, you know? So, I think, okay, this seems crazy, but I'm gonna go ahead and just run it on a small cycle just to see if it drains, see what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to run it and it's starting to run and it's sounding normal, and I'm thinking, okay, weird fluke thing. Maybe someone started it without realizing and went to open it and it just like settled. And then I realized that my sink is starting to bubble up.
Oh.
And so then I start to panic again. Oh God, this isn't good. It's backing up in my sink. So I think, maybe if I just turn on the garbage disposal. And I turn the garbage disposal and gone. My dishwasher ran fine. It drained fine. I then proceeded to like try to do an actual load because I wasn't about to like eat off of anything that had been sitting in there with that nasty water. And it's fine. It's fine now. I just needed to run my dishwasher.
Your
Or my
disposal?
disposal. Yeah.
Weird.
Because they tie in together or whatever, and I guess just it hadn't been done and there was some funk and it just needed cleared out. And I was
Well, I mean, yay, but
Yeah, I
still
know.
a lot to deal with.
it was a lot for Christmas morning. Like, this is before the kids were even up. Like, you know, I was like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? This is my
Merry
life?
Christmas.
Yeah, is this my life really? Like, it's not enough. Like, I
I
have
do.
to have
I always
plumber
feel
problems.
guilty. Like, I feel like you just got shit luck.
I got trials for
Oh,
sure.
It's not fair.
Trials on
I
trials.
feel like she experiences far more bad luck than anybody that I know. And it's undeserving.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You've not, like, pissed off somebody, like, in karma.
No.
Like, I don't even know. Mine is super trivial this week, actually. Other than, I mean, it's kind of normal, like, my anxiety. It's the holidays. It's been crazy, all-time high. And it is coming out in the weirdest ways. Like, I feel like you good?
She pushing on your belly.
No, I'm sorry. Her nail went into my leg.
Oh, yeah.
It caught me off guard.
But yeah, I feel like for the most part, like my mental health, like I feel like okay. But my anxiety is coming out in these weird ways. Like my husband wants new living room furniture, and his only request is that he gets a recliner. He doesn't care. There's no budget. He doesn't care what kind of fabric. Doesn't
That's
care
awesome.
anything. I can't figure it out.
No.
Like I can't figure it out. I'm like, what if I don't like it once it gets here? And like, what if I pick the wrong thing?
I will say this is I got rid of my tan furniture.
Yeah.
And because we got a sectional for free. I don't like the sectional.
I'm like,
Oh.
I don't
but
know.
we're trading furniture with Mom when we trade houses. So I get her furniture. I like her furniture. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
hers is nice.
But I was so sad because I really wanted to like this couch. And I was like, oh, it looks so good. And I was like,
It does fit the
like
space
it.
well, though.
It does. It
Yeah,
looks
I don't
really
know.
good in the house. But I just don't.
So you
My
like,
problem is I like the showroom look.
Mm-hmm.
I like things that look nice and pristine,
Put
but I
together.
also want cozy.
Yeah.
And those two things don't go
No,
together.
they don't.
Not usually.
So I'm having a significant issue, and it's causing. It's like I don't even know how to like fully explain it. Like, how does somebody get anxious and overwhelmed by choosing furniture? And it's like, leave it to me. I'll find a way.
I have to buy 4 new dressers because none of us have. Boy's dresser's falling apart.
Sorry.
Bobby's dresser's falling apart. I don't have a dresser, so that's our. And I have to buy a stackable washer and dryer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those aren't that bad, are they? I don't know.
I don't know.
Mm, I would check DeVos.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, first world problems. I'm
Yeah,
grateful
yeah,
that this
yeah.
week that's my biggest problem.
Do you have no like thought on like what you like? I mean, my husband and I, we couldn't agree on furniture. It took a lot for me.
We're
to
not
be
even
like, I want
disagreeing.
this.
He just doesn't care. All he
That's
wants
amazing.
is a recliner. And he's like, but you pick it so it goes with whatever couch you want. Because the way that everything's set up is like he sits in his recliner now, but we want to get rid of that one. And then I sit on the couch, and he knows that I'm like picky about how things look and how I think. So he's like, he literally doesn't care. Doesn't care if it's leather. Doesn't care if the couch
No,
reclines.
that's what I was gonna say.
I will
Does
tell
he
you
like
this.
specifically a detached recliner?
Yes.
Okay, because they do have them now, where like
Yeah.
the whole dang thing, the
Yeah.
whole couch reclines.
Don't get leather with your cat.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
do
She'll
not.
tear it up.
I don't like leather.
Me
I don't like
neither.
or the pleather or any
I
of
think
it.
I think that's
hot.
why I'm not a big fan.
It's not
of-
cozy and comfy.
That's why. And it's really cold in the morning.
Yeah.
And it gets sticky if you're sweaty and hot on
Yeah.
it. Ugh.
I do like that you can clean it.
Yeah, it is real easy to clean.
That's
So-
like the only pro in my opinion.
Yeah.
I will say that because because the boys' room isn't hooked up to the AC, their room gets really cold. So I was like, boys, y'all sleep on the couch. That way you're not over cold tonight because it got really cold last night.
Yeah, it did.
Well, one of them had an accident,
Oh no.
which happens. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
obviously
yeah.
not gonna.
Yeah.
It's like it's no big deal. Just go change, wipe the couch. There wasn't even like any. It was just
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was
it was
easy.
just enough to where he woke up and was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, they probably thought it honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. It happens.
If they
It's
didn't
just
feel
like-
it when it was warm, they certainly started feeling it when it turned cold.
Right. Yeah.
So I was just like, no big deal. Just, all right, go back to bed.
Yeah.
that's
So just,
helpful.
I don't know. Just anxiety. It's kind of like seasonal. It's little things. I mean,
It's the
we've
season for it.
got where one of my kids is experiencing some anxiety, and it's like got my brain like overworking. It's like I don't know. It's the anxiety is uncontrollable. There's nothing I can do about it right now. I'm doing everything that I can just to stay calm and whatever. And it's just like anything my anxiety can attach to right now is just astronomical. But I mean, I guess if I had to choose, it's better than depression.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's funny which side wants to come out whenever. Which side wants to come out and play right now. So, but anyway, sibling order.
Yes.
You want to start this whole, or you want me to?
I think you've done the most research.
A little bit,
We
yeah.
talked a little bit, and I kind of did filler stuff
Okay.
to go around it.
So sibling order basically is Alfred Adler, and I got my little notes because I don't remember these things. I'm terrible with history.
You're already doing better than on my notes. So.
In 1907, he came up with this birth order theory, and it has a lot to do with basically saying that the firstborn, the middle child, and the youngest, whether there be two youngest or whatever, but whatever your birth order is, has a lot to a lot to say
About your
about your
personality.
personality and what you'll become. So some of the little notes I wrote down were that the firstborn is typically a leader, obeys, a high achiever, is organized, and a know-it-all.
Best.
Oh, yep, that tracks. I also got a responsible, perfectionist, need approval.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
the
I'm
achiever.
already telling you this isn't right.
Yes. Well, we'll get into that, but
In
I
some
have.
ways.
I told them like
Some, yes.
I find
but
it very interesting that a lot of it like does resonate with me, but a lot of it doesn't. I found that really interesting. But a middle child is more likely to be flexible, secretive, generous, social, and a peacemaker, which is just to delve in. I'm not a peacemaker.
Nope.
I know, honestly, some of the traits I found were contradictory in within that like in the middle child, for instance, like because then I also got independent, rebellious. So it's like you're
How are you rebellious and a peacemaker?
yes, you're
Yeah.
a peacemaker, but you're also secretive and insecure and rebellious.
Mm-hmm.
But then also you're independent.
So
Like
the last
it's
though.
all over the place.
The last one is risk taker, outgoing, likes to be pampered, humor, and bored easily.
That's for the youngest
Yes,
sibling.
for the
right?
youngest. So some of those fit and some don't. So we can talk about that
A
a
lot
little
of those fit, actually.
bit. For yours, I found that they pretty good, pretty
Yeah.
head on. The risk taker likes to be pampered.
Yeah.
Don't we all though?
Oh,
I
we
mean,
do.
yes.
Everybody does have that a bit.
Yes.
And then for the middle child, the secretive, like I'm not like maliciously secretive, but I do find myself more closed off in comparison, I would think.
You've always been like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like not even in a malicious way. It's
no,
just kind of just
no.
how my brain works. Like I'm not necessarily an open
You're
book.
private.
Yeah,
Yeah.
private. Yours, a leader obeys. I feel like that. You're definitely the leader of situations that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Need of approval.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of those I felt really resonated with me. Perfectionist. I thought at first when I read that I was like, no, but like, yeah, in some ways,
And it,
Not gonna lie, it's true.
Yeah. I found that interesting. I think the social for the middle, I think I would probably be considered social.
You're both pretty social.
I'm like an introverted social.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
You
You
could
like
be a
to be
little bit
social
of both.
at your own house.
I do prefer my own environment.
Now, I noticed you didn't touch any on if you were an only child.
I didn't.
So I can add to that a little bit.
Yeah.
So what I found for only children, most of what I was reading basically said that if you're an only child, you kind of have traits of a firstborn child and a baby, like the youngest. Because you can have traits like you could be sensitive to criticism. They would tend to be more comfortable with adults because they're not
That's
used
what
to
they're
being
used to.
constantly around children.
Yeah.
So socially they could come off a little bit more mature, but maybe really they're not. Maybe they're used to getting their way a little more because
Right.
they're also baby.
Which it makes it harder to accept criticism.
Which I thought was really interesting. It was like, again, a lot of contrast all within that one, I guess, parameter.
Yeah, which I think goes
Essentially.
for any social experiment.
They also can be responsible and confident.
I can see the confidence.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they're obviously like the.
Doted on.
Mm-hmm. There's no competition.
Yeah.
Within their family or whatever. Is something I found especially interesting, which kind of I feel like explains a lot of why our things don't quite fit into these boxes, is that one of the things they mentioned was situational challenges.
This is interesting.
And that is basically just stating that when there are significant illnesses or any sort of trauma, and that birth orders can switch. So for our example is I was the sick one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of took on a lot of the traits of the baby, of the family.
Yes.
And I'm fine now, but growing up, I just was. I was
a
always
lot,
the sick
yeah.
one.
All the time.
And so the whole likes to be pampered, the bored easily, like, I feel it.
We're all guilty of treating you as the baby, though. That's why that's why our family has the ongoing joke of Shannon's the baby.
Yeah.
She's not, guys. She's really not.
No, I'm actually the middle child, but I very much...
She accepts her role as the baby.
I mean, it's not a bad place to be. So,
Yeah, because it's my place.
What's interesting to me about this whole like birth order thing is that at its roots, it's all about how you are really being socialized in your peer group, essentially. So it made me kind of think like, what if, say, you're a child who is adopted? Then say you're the first in that family, but you're adopted. And then maybe they adopt another kid, and then that person would be the second. I wonder how birth order, like I would think in theory, it would still kind of play out similar because you would still have those similar like social
right, like with
parameters.
For example, like the first is typically like a high achiever. And my take on that is that it's probably because the older is expected to be the example.
Yeah.
And to lead properly and thus taking on that leadership role. So adoption, I think, would fall under those situational challenges that it mixes those up, and it's like, oh wait, like where's the balance?
Like would they still hold the same, or would they be like a little bit more hodgepodge?
I think it would probably adjust, just as it was like with any kind of trauma or anything. I wish I knew somebody that was adopted. I actually have a friend that was adopted, but she's an only child. So so I find that interesting. But something else that was really cool, which I found did not fit us at all, but I still thought it was worth noting. One little snippet. Whoa, I didn't write it down. Let me remember it exactly. But it, all of the astronauts that have gone to space.
Oh yeah.
Have been either an only child or the firstborn. Like, those are the only options for all the people that have gone to space.
This is amazing and
it's
interesting.
Like, it's because I guess maybe it has those leadership qualities.
That confidence. And
yeah. So I found that really interesting. But in career goals, or typical careers, I thought this was super funny because for the oldest, typically they hold careers in government, IT, engineering, and science, which I was like, no, not her.
No. Like none of those.
Middle, public service, caretaking, and education.
That could be me.
Yeah.
Which is, but
opposite.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm more in the corporate, while
Yeah.
you're more in the caretaking.
That's interesting.
And then the last is art, design, editing, and writing, which...
That could be me too. I could be either of the not firstborn in that careers aspects.
Yeah, but I thought it was really interesting. So as I started doing the research on it, like I guess the intention was like, let me find out everything I can about it. And the thought process was, it'll be really cool to like figure out why we are the way we are. But then I found myself pretty much just disproving it. Which is equally fine. I don't know. I find it interesting, these sort of things that kind of tell you like who you're supposed to be. Like I'm very like fascinated with like the nature versus nurture as well. So I find it fascinating, but I guess there is a lot that is kind of embedded in you and who your persona is that has nothing to do with how you're raised.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's cool to see that come through.
See, for me, I always heard that, the first one is the easygoing, chilled out child. Second one is your wild child. And your third one is, hope to God, the saving grace.
Yeah.
And that stuck, because my second is my wild child.
But see, my second was my easy peasy, like lemon squeezy child, and as she has grown up, it has kind of switched to where sometimes she's my more difficult child.
Yeah.
Like she didn't hold to a set standard.
Well,
I was not the saving grace.
No.
So.
Well, I always find it interesting because I have Aubriana, who is 9, and then I also have Zoe, who my husband had, and she's adopted, and she's not biologically mine. She's adopted. She's 11. So, which one's considered the first?
Zoe.
Because Zoe is the oldest.
Well, but no.
But she wasn't the first child that I raised. So, because I always wonder, are my kids backwards, or is that true? Because Zoe is certainly my wild child. She's
I could
very
see it.
independent, very
That's
stubborn,
weird.
has set in her own ways, while Aubriana's more mellow.
Yeah.
And you usually kind of hear of it flip-flopped.
You're
So
right.
in my head, yeah, I think.
That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about, I had thought about the adoption thing, but I hadn't really thought about, like, because yes, it's like she had a father, of course, before that, but, like, she didn't, like, have a family and didn't have that same exact family social setting.
The same element,
And so then, even to get more weird with it, so, like, if it feels to you like Aubriana is your oldest, even though she's technically younger, and Zoe is your older child, now I wonder, and that's how you perceive it as the mother. I wonder how your husband perceives it. If he perceives their personalities opposite, or if he feels the same way you feel. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. That would be an interesting topic.
We should ask him that.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really weird. Yeah, I hadn't even considered
It's I don't know. It's kind of crazy, and it just at least the
Aubriana is more like the older child.
Mhm.
Honestly, in some ways, she's kind of like an only child because I can see her being like the oldest child or being like the baby.
Yeah.
But I don't see her as a middle child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's smart, and she's definitely very like a perfectionist. She's hard on herself when she doesn't do well in school.
Like you can see that overachiever first child thing
absolutely.
coming out.
But the whole likes to be pampered, bored easily. That's totally her too.
Likes to be baby.
She got some humor.
She is a spunky thing. I know. I was talking to Ben the other day that I was like, I thought that Zoe was just like my more humorous kid, and then she's kind of stopped, and I was like, it's got to be the age thing.
Yeah,
because she's 9, and Zoe used to always these most random spitfire things, and hilarious. And then now as Zoe is getting a little bit older, and like the whole
too cool
thing,
for us.
yeah, she's kind of too cool for us. Doesn't want to do anything with me, and that's okay. She's she's 11. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But she's more controlled in her responses, and so she's not coming off with off the wall randomness that now Aubriana's kind of growing into. And I was like, oh, maybe it's an age thing and not a personality thing.
Well, and this is another thing too. So if you start to take into account, like this is just one kind of way to look at personality. So if you start taking into account other factors like zodiac, for instance, if you believe it all in zodiac, then how does that play into this?
I actually don't know.
Order.
That would be really
Me
fun to
neither.
look into, because I don't know much about astrology or anything like that. And my girls' birthdays are 5 days apart. So I guess I never really thought about it in depth, but my initial assumption would be that they must be the same.
Oh yeah, but
they're not.
They're not.
And I couldn't even tell you what is what. I just remember that we were reading something and I saw it was different. So I was like, oh, maybe that's part of why they are so different, because they are. They're like night and day, which I think is like the best of both worlds. It's wild and it makes me crazy as well, but very, very different. So I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. I guess none of these things are like black and white. They're not.
And that's the thing.
But
Take
it's
what you
still,
can from it.
But it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it's a little interesting to think of, like, some of those things I wouldn't have really even put much thought into, but like, yeah, some of them ring really true.
Yeah.
Like spookily true. For fun, I went and I looked up some of the worst traits.
Ooh.
And they're pretty simple, but I'll go through them now just for fun. So for the firstborn child, firstborn children can be bossy know-it-alls and a little high-strung.
Yeah.
I mean,
I am not.
I feel like I am too. It's not just you. You're not
I think
alone.
you handle it well.
I say you handle a lot better than Shannon does.
Yeah.
I'm not bossy. I am particular.
There you go.
And
Yeah, tell that to 13-year-old me versus 15-year-old you.
Yeah, then I was bossy. I've controlled it into an art.
Oh, okay.
It's
that's
particular
now.
now.
It's an art.
There's a reason I'm a project manager.
Great. The middle children can tend to be people pleasers who cannot handle conflict. They're just like,
Ding, ding, ding.
we don't know. Whatever, y'all figure it out.
Let me just pretend that's not an issue.
Yeah, push it away.
Maybe it'll go away.
And I thought, okay, I can see that a little bit.
That has been one of the most difficult parts of my marriage, is that conflict is it's going to happen. There's no way. You're different
But you
people.
tend to avoid?
It's
do.
taken
No,
a
like,
lot
not
of
on
work
purpose,
to
obviously,
not.
but
But
in
that
general.
that is like my general go-to, is that to conform rather than be conflicting.
Oh, no.
Like, and there was a time that he was like, no, I don't want a robot that just agrees with me. And I was like, what is this? And then, yeah, it turns out men like, personality and opinions.
Oh,
Crazy.
do they?
At least
Well,
my
then.
husband. I can't speak for them all. So it was a very awkward conversation, but I was like, damn it, I hate when you're right.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so for the youngest, it says youngest can be manipulative and lazy.
Well,
I could totally see that in your younger years.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking too.
Oh yeah. And then for the only children can take on negative traits of either a firstborn or a baby. So basically, the youngest can go either way, or the only child could go either way.
I will say the youngest definitely applies to Jack still. Because,
Oh yeah, will for a little while.
oh yeah, he will be, like this morning he was sitting there putting together his Lego set and he dropped a little Lego. He's like, Matt, get that for me. Jack, no. Matt's letting the dogs out. Matt's like, I'm watching the dogs. And Bobby walks out the room. He goes, Bobby, I dropped that Lego. See it by your foot? And without hesitation, Bobby's like, oh yeah, I got it for you, man. I'm like,
I am not surprised.
make him get up.
I think, though, looking into the future, if he is in any sort, just going to corporate world because that's what I know, but any sort of management position or
He'll be ready
anything
to
higher,
delegate.
yes, those are difficult
right,
skills
though.
for a lot of people.
Yeah, people have a hard time asserting themselves in a
Oh,
role
he
like
doesn't.
that.
We all know that.
Yeah, 0%
Yeah,
issues with it.
he
being
won't have a
assertive.
problem there.
That's so
No.
funny.
So that's what I keep trying to tell myself, all through anytime I have a hard time with my kids, and like I was telling one of them, I try not to blast my kids too much, but it's obviously which one I'm talking about.
What can you do? What can you do?
But Zoe is very stubborn and likes things her way, which is, it's great. I don't ever, I don't worry about, if she wants to go off to college, that she's going to be taken advantage of, or get herself in a bad position. So, I don't want to work those traits out of her.
Sorry, my cat is being a spaz. She's like, what's happening? I don't know. There's people
stuck
over.
at things.
She's not super smart.
But yeah, so I don't want to work these things out of her, but I have to survive them. That cat.
Sorry. I don't know what she's doing. Oy. Okay, so something else I thought was kind of interesting is I did find an article, and actually I'm just going to go ahead and cite a couple sources. I found a lot of information about this topic on yourtango.com, particular this article about how your birth order can correlate, or how it can kind of affect your love life.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, weird, interesting. Again, something I wouldn't have thought about. So I'll just go through those couple of notes that I have.
Yeah.
So if you're the first born, that you tend to be confident in relationships, but that you can be a little bit dominating and bossy. Possibly so. Middle child is easygoing but stubborn.
Yep.
The youngest would be fun-loving and spontaneous, but also can be stubborn.
I was waiting for the stubborn.
Yeah. That's interesting because I feel like those fit.
Yeah,
us.
I feel
Yeah.
like those definitely fit.
And if you're an only child, you tend to be responsible and reliable, but you can maybe struggle, remembering the fact that you are a part of a couple and not like a lone wolf, because you, as an only child, you grow up socially.
I can see that.
Being very independent,
Right,
and
like
aware of yourself.
You have like yourself to depend on,
Yeah.
yourself to work issues out with, and I can see it being difficult to realize that you
Like,
have
don't
somebody
forget,
else
you're in a partnership
to work with.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, I should real quick before we tie things up, I also got some really great resources from thepowerofhappy.com and positivemed.com on this topic. That's the best sites that I have. I didn't do really good ones. I didn't put the article, specifically the article titles or anything, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I feel like it's more of a curiosity thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, maybe so, but I don't know that I read too much into it. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's fun. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but it's cool it made me kind of, I guess,
Have some awareness.
Yeah, become aware, or realize some of these things that maybe I was trying to pretend weren't real.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these traits, being too much of a people pleaser.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I've struggled with.
But also, I feel like I have, for a lot of my life, also been struggled with being a people pleaser, to where I've actually had to work on it.
Yeah.
Because it's bad. So I thought that was interesting too. Like as a first child, some of those things I feel like I tick into, but I also tick a lot into the middle child box, which is weird.
Maybe because I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. That's interesting.
I know.
It's crazy
It is
how
interesting.
everything works. I think one day we should do nature versus nurture as well. I'm obsessed
Haven't
with
we
the
done
topic.
that?
I thought we did.
Did we?
Yeah.
We could review. And
I've
do it
done
again.
a lot more research.
We can do it again. Yeah. I mean,
I
gosh.
just find it intriguing,
Yeah.
mainly because of where I came from.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is genetics and how much of it is deciding what your life is. So just with any of these, any kind of the social outlooks or experiments, researches, I don't know.
Yeah.
I find them interesting.
Well, we'd love to hear from you guys how you feel about birth order, how you feel it personally affects you. Any kind of, obviously we talked about the first, the middle children, the youngest, and an only child, but any kind of other interesting dynamic or, any information on that kind of subject that you think that we would enjoy, please feel free to put it in the comments below. And without further ado, shall we go into triumphs?
The good stuff.
Yeah.
I know, short and sweet this week. Christmas holiday
Yeah, right?
week.
I'll go first. So.
Okay, I was
You
like,
gotta think about
I don't
some
think I
good.
have anything good. Not all terrible, but nothing worth sharing.
I know. For me, it was I finished my last week of the previous semester, so I am on a 2-week break from
Heck
school,
yes.
which has done amazing things for my mental health. I needed the break so badly. And then I also had some time off of work, and then I go back for 2 days, and I have another 5 days off. So
Nice.
a lot of mental recovery. And I actually, yesterday, I went through, and I feel like everybody has this house in their, or this room in their house, but like when you clean everything, there's always that one room that just gets neglected. Like all the crap gets piled up.
Like even if it's clean, it's
It's
like
just-
hodgepodge.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like clutter and whatever.
That's our
That's
bedroom.
my bedroom.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I got to deep clean it yesterday, and I feel so much better.
Good on you. I have not done nothing really.
My house is a disaster.
I took
since
mental
the boys
health
opened all
very
their gifts.
serious this week.
Yeah. Well, I do too, and rest is important. I did
Yes.
a couple of days of that, but at the same time, I feel very chaotic, and I work in my bedroom.
Yes.
So being in that chaos, it just messes with my head. So I knew that I needed to do it, so I just
did it.
figured it out.
Good on you. That's good. I need that.
It took me all
I
day.
need that motivation. Like I
Yeah.
feel like the same. Like I have just spent the last couple of days off of work, like chilling, doing very minimal things. And I enjoy it, but also I feel anxious a little bit about it.
Yeah.
You know? But also I feel like I've needed it. I do feel real rested and stuff.
Yeah, I try to find the balance. Like, not even gonna lie, it took me all day. Not because it was necessarily horrific. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm not grubby and gross. But it
Just
took
the source of
forever
clutter.
because there was a lot of rest in between.
Good.
a lot of TV watching.
We'll
which
have
is
to talk about the crown
characteristic
after
for
this.
me. But what
Yeah,
about you?
you
Did
don't
you
have
come up
TV
with something
watch.
good?
I don't know. It's still, I'm debating on if it's another trial or a triumph, but
Oh.
we got a pack.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that's
exciting.
exciting.
Choose to see the exciting
It
part.
is exciting, but I'm really pregnant.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And
we should
have
have
to
a
pack.
packing party.
Packing
Yeah.
and cleaning, because I gotta clean too.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
pack.
Yeah, I don't want to clean. I don't really want to pack.
I don't
Packing the
either.
house is like my least favorite thing about moving ever. Like,
And then
I
I
don't
have
want
to
to pack
unpack.
house. Unpacking is fun. Packing is horrible.
I recently helped
Unpacking
2 of my
is fun.
friends, and it turns out I'm actually not half bad. For somebody, like, my husband and I constantly, he wants a bigger house. I don't want to move.
Mm-mm.
Because, like, I told him, like, if we can't afford movers, we cannot afford to move.
Just
That's it.
put it that way for you.
So, I traditionally don't like packing. But if it's not my house, it's like, you know, like a little kid.
Well, anytime. We
Open
have
house.
boxes. Bobby went and got a bunch of boxes today.
I don't mind helping.
And we
I'm not.
have
I'm
so much
useless
crap
in
on
moving.
donations that I know that I've been just looking at, like, why do I have this? I don't mess with it
Goodwill.
Yeah.
all the
I
time.
don't care for Goodwill.
Well, where I've.
I don't care where it
St.
goes,
Vincent
just
de
out of
Paul.
the
Take it to
house.
St. Vincent.
There's
de
some
Paul.
local places.
There's somewhere.
Yeah.
And actually, if you got good furniture, St. Vincent de Paul come haul it off for you. You don't even have to take it.
What was yours?
Okay, so mine is Christmas related. On Christmas Eve, we usually spend with my cousin. It's her birthday on Christmas Eve, and most years we'll drive somewhere out of town and we'll get some like yummy food, and then we'll do something like walk around downtown Disney. But this year it is weird because of COVID. It also happened to be my cousin's 21st birthday, so like no going out and partying at the club for her. And I was like a little bit nervous, like how things were gonna turn out, and that she would be disappointed.
Yeah.
And we ended up, nothing is open. Surprise! Nothing was really open much before all of this COVID stuff, but now because of COVID, even more places were like just taking the day off. So like, I couldn't find like a restaurant for us to go to, and like I was feeling anxious for her to like not have a good birthday, and we ended up just going to a little local restaurant here in town. It was super chill. Food was good, and then we went back to my aunt's house and we drank wine and we played games and we like did our presents, and it was so nice. It was so nice. Like it was the opposite. Like I feel like every year, even though it's something exciting to look forward to, it's a lot. It's a lot of driving, it's a lot of traffic,
it's
a lot of
stress,
stress and stuff. And like this year it was smooth and nice. We weren't out super late, so we got home. We were able to do Christmas Eve together as a family, and then Christmas Day We woke up with the kids and enjoyed our day. Was very very chill and lazy and leisurely, and like literally lived in our pajamas all day. It was
Yeah, I
wonderful.
found
Didn't have to drive anywhere. It was fantastic.
Instead of doing like a big Christmas dinner that we usually do, we just did a small brunch, just like our small little pod of people that we've been around, and it was just really nice. It was not stressful.
Yeah.
I was not freaking out about what needed to be cooked when. Like,
yeah, it's like part of you feels like you're missing that excitement, right?
but at the same time, it's relieving too.
That's exactly
Yeah.
how I felt. I felt like I was worried that we were going to miss out on something this year.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, really, we gained so much from missing what we all that hullabaloo, you know?
I know, and it's like, it kind of all things that COVID completely screwed up, it really kind of brought to
everyone
center
together.
like what is important.
Yeah, and whom is important. Yeah, it makes me look forward to New Year's. I'm ready to like pew pew this year in the
Goodbye,
butt.
2020.
Yeah.
Yes.
See you later, 2020. I'm ready to move on with our lives. But
All right.
I guess that's it. Like, thanks for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. You know where to find us. You can find us at 3 Sisters 1 Heart Podcast at gmail.com. You can find us at 3 Sisters 1 Heart Podcast on Instagram, 3 Sisters 1 Heart on Facebook, and you also can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and Libsyn.
Bye.
Bye.